Proposals of two-nation theory and partition of the subcontinent. By 1937, the political conditions of the subcontinent compelled the Muslim political leaders to seriously consider the partition of India. The atrocious Congress rule had intensified Muslim apprehensions of feared Hindu domination in the event of the British leaving the country. The Muslims therefore rightly decided to demand the partition of India during British rule so that the Muslims could avoid the prospective Hindu domination after the British. In fact, the idea of Indian partition was not a new one. A number of partition proposals had already been forwarded by leading politicians and reformers. Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani, the great reformer and a staunch advocate of the pan-Islamism, proposed to make the northern part of the subcontinent an independent Muslim state. He perceived of an independent Muslim state republic comprising of the present Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Central Asia. After it, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan proposed that the Hindu and Muslim cannot live together because there is a huge difference between their culture, civilization, and way of life. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan observed the rigid attitude of Hindus and Congress leaders, so he proposed they cannot live together. Al-Biruni, the Muslim philosopher and scientist, visited India and he said the Hindus have a high-level attitude, so they cannot bear any other nation to amalgamated in India. So he proposed the Indian people, likely Hindu, who have narrow-minded, so they cannot accept any other nation to live together within Indian state. Maulana Abdul Halim Sharar, the famous Urdu novelist and critic, suggested in an article on 23rd August 1890 that India should be divided into two Hindu and Muslim states to put an end to the long-standing hatred and antagonism between the two communities. He also suggested that the population of both states should be exchanged to allow the people to go to their country of choice. In 1917, another proposal of the partition of India was offered by the two brothers known as Khairy brothers, Dr. Abdul Jabbar Khairy and Professor Abdul Sattar Khairy proposed the partition of the subcontinent in the Socialist International Conference held at Stockholm. They stressed on giving self-rule to every administrative unit of the subcontinent. In 1920, Muhammad Abdul Qadir Bilgarami advocated the division of the subcontinent between the Hindus and Muslims, giving a list of districts which were not so different from the present boundaries of East and West Pakistan. 3 years later, in 1923, in his evidence before the Frontier Inquiry Committee, Sardar Gul Muhammad Khan of Dera Ismail Khan had proposed a partition of India by which the Muslims were to get the area from Peshawar to Agra. Lala Lajpat Rai, the founder of Hindu Mahasabha in 1924, suggested the partition of India into Hindu and Muslim states. The poet-philosopher Allama Iqbal, while delivering his presidential address at the annual session of the Muslim League at Allahabad in December 1930, said, "I would like to see Punjab and WFP Sindh and Balochistan amalgamated into a single state, self-government within the British Empire. The formation of a consolidated Northwest India Muslim state appears to me to be the final destiny of the Muslims, at least of Northwest India." Dr. Abdul Latif came out with a comprehensive proposal of partition. He proposed population exchange on a much larger scale and suggested the division of the subcontinent into four Muslim and 11 Hindu zones. To establish national unity, he rejected the Congress view of Indian nationalism and declared that the Hindu and Muslim cultures are ridden with glaring dissimilarities. He was of the opinion that to consider Hindus and Muslims as one nation, in the presence of cultural differences, was a blunder. The above-mentioned proposal could not attract decisive attention until a concrete scheme for the establishment of the Muslim state came for the first time from a person of high intellectual stature and prestige. Chaudhry Rahmat Ali, a student at Cambridge University, propounding his scheme for partition of India, the Muslims, instead of looking upon themselves as a downtrodden minority, now saw themselves as a proud nation entitled to build a just social order on the basis of Islam in their homeland. Chaudhry Rahmat Ali coined the word Pakistan, in which P stands for Punjab, A for Afghanistan, K for Kashmir, S for Sindh, and Tan for Balochistan. The word Pakistan itself means the land of the pure. Chaudhry Rahmat Ali expanded his scheme in his famous pamphlet known as No or Never, and gave it a wide publicity. He wrote a book as Pakistan, the Fatherland of Pak Nation, in which he declared that the northern part of the subcontinent is a Muslim majority area, which we shall make an independent Muslim state. He openly rejected the idea of one nationality and advocated separation from India. The Muslim League set up a committee to examine the partition proposals extended from time to time from different quarters. The committee was required to submit a detailed report highlighting the possibilities of a separate homeland for the Muslims of India. The committee included the Quaid-e-Azam, Abdul Mateen Chaudhry, Khwaja Nazimuddin Liaquat Ali Khan, Nawab Ismail Khan, and Sayyid Abdul Aziz. Meanwhile, the Muslim League branches of Sindh and UP passed resolutions demanding a separate homeland for the Muslims of India. The Sindh Muslim League, in its annual session of 1938, passed this resolution, and thus led to in demanding a separate homeland for the Muslims. All these resolutions were dispatched to the Central Office of the Muslim League, which set out with the preparation to put forward the demand for Pakistan in its next annual session of 1940. The annual session of the Muslim League, which abruptly changed the political horizons of India, began on 23rd March 1940 at the famous Minto Park ground, Lahore, which later on came to be known as Iqbal Park. Muslims from all over India thronged the meeting places in a large number and expressed their firm support in favor of the Muslim League and the Quaid-e-Azam. So Quaid-e-Azam also announced about the separation of India, and mostly he demanded to separate the Muslim states like NWS, Balochistan, Punjab and Sindh, so that they live according to their religion and they can practice their religion and practice and other things.